Fuzzy Belvedere, we had something happen over the weekend that a lot of people, including myself, got a chance to play, and that was Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 comes out, and I had some trouble originally getting in, but when the weekend started and they made it available to everybody, I got in with no problem. The queues were a little bit frightening at first because I would see like, oh, you're 117,000 away from playing the game, and I'm like, oh my god, are you serious? But you know what? It's Battlefield 6. Battlefield's been bad for many, many years. I would say the last Battlefield that I thoroughly enjoyed, that I could not put down, that I played multiplayer and single player, was Battlefield 4. And that is a very long time ago. So I can see why the gaming populace are like some thirsty aunties, right? Like they're looking for it, right? As the kids like to say. And you know what? They delivered. I wanna move to topic number 2, Fuzzy Belvedere, and I do want to get into the your time with Battlefield 6. Give my thoughts and theories and opinions. I didn't love it, ladies and gentlemen. I liked it. I thought that the destructibility was incredible. I think when there is a lot happening on the screen, it is like a war movie because, pieces are exploding and bullets are whizzing by and people are screaming out for help and people are going down in front of you and you're trying to drag them up and stab them with to bring them back to life. And the sound was great. The visuals were incredible. It does feel like Battlefield is back. There are some problems, though, ladies and gentlemen. It has nothing to do with gameplay. Well, it kind of does. The guns feel flat. Every gun that I used felt like I was using something made of paper mache. They had no kickback to them whatsoever. And the biggest problem with the guns is some of them were ridiculously overpowered. Like the shotgun, you can hit somebody like a sniper rifle, which is ridiculous. And they should have known that. I used the assault package. So I used the standard gun and I leveled it up. I put a scope on there. I put the infrared laser, you name it. I got to level. Well, I think I got to level 4. I was probably a match or 2 away from 5. And I played all I needed to play. I'm buying it still day one. There's no question that they already got my money. But I'll tell you this is not pulling me away from Call of Duty at all. I went back to playing. I started season 5 for Call of Duty, and Call of Duty just feels fast. It feels complete. The guns that you put together, like if you use a new gun, you have to learn how to use the new gun. Like that's like any first-person shooter. But the one thing I like about Call of Duty, and the one you can absolutely do is you have a loadout for Battlefield. Is I know my guns. I find a weapon I like and I max it out to its highest level and I use that gun and I think I have like 7 presets that I made that, one is for sniper, which has a sniper rifle that I always use, or I have a couple of machine guns, I have a couple of ones with shotties. So I know my gear. And all the weapons feel really, really good. That was one of my biggest complaints with Battlefield 6. Now, granted, folks, I get it. It's a beta. And there's a lot of growing that they're going to do from now to October. There's no doubt about it. And again, it's Vince Zampella. Look, Vince, and with Vince's leadership, you've seen what he's been able to do over the course of his career. And obviously, it starts with Call of Duty. And from there, it gets into Titanfall. It gets into Apex Legends. Now it gets into Battlefield 6. His fingerprints are all over this. It's going to be amazing. And I'm sure they're going to fix everything. But I am going to say that one of the things that I dreaded the most is the consistent running for hours. It felt like I know, you get a chance to pick, okay, so I'm going to go to this point, and you go there, and it's great. And if that's where you want to start, awesome. But some of these maps, and I've even said this when I was a player of Battlefield, are just too big. You are running for 10 minutes to get into a firefight. And what sucks is, let's say, for instance, you are running, you load, you're running, you're like 5 minutes running, you get snipes, and you're like, God damn it.
Yeah.
I got to start this rat race all over. And then, of course, the point that I was spawning from has now been taken over, and I got to go all the way back to HQ, which is all the way on the left-hand side of the screen, and now I got to put on my good running shoes, and I got to run. And I got to go and take this point. So my other teammates, which, by the way, see that I go down, and they just run right past you, those sons of bitches. It is the most hilarious thing. And you know what's funny? Again, this is just, I'm getting it all out there, folks. So one of the biggest complaints for Call of Duty has been what? The skins, right? Like, oh my God, I'm playing with Beavis and Butthead. This is ridiculous. You know what's also ridiculous? Someone running around with a pair of effing paddles that are supposed to be made for resuscitation, and they're killing you. And they're killing your entire team by just running around with paddles, shocking everybody. But somehow, Beavis and Butthead isn't any good. Again, folks, listen. Again, it's just video games. It's not real world war. But come on. I mean, those paddles were better than some of the weapons that I was using, for crying out loud. I mean, I saw videos of one guy with paddles, raise like 8 people. Like his whole team was down. He just was going around like he was a magician. And then he proceeded to then run across the way and start paddling everyone, killing the other team. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Like, and you're laughing, Fuzzy, but it's actually happening. Okay, so listen, I enjoyed it enough to keep my pre-order. I'm gonna play it. But I will say that for me personally, as someone that has now been reintroduced to Call of Duty thanks to Black Ops 6, I'm not going anywhere. I'll probably sparingly play Battlefield, but my main is going to be Call of Duty. Fuzzy Belvedere, let's get your thoughts and your theories on the beta that happened this weekend.
Oh, I wish I would have been on some of those rounds with the paddle setup. I've been playing what do you call them? Support with the LMG and the paddles. Haven't been able to pick up as many people because the snipers are terrifying at times, but it really depends on the map. Like I forget what map it is, but it's almost like a mountainside where you have like high ground and low ground.
Yes.
And if you ever start on the low ground, oh my God, it is
You're finished. People they camp and they just wait for you to run up and they pop you down, pop you right in the head. Yes.
No, but it was a ton of fun running with Steel and Pong and Mav, and Jasper was in there most of the time as well. And it was a ton of fun working as a group. And then when you're with people, chances are they're not going to run past you and let you, bleed out kind of deal. So it definitely helped running with a crew that you knew. And it's like, oh, you're in the party with them. It's like, oh, I'm down. Or watch out, sniper, headshot me. Don't come back here. They got to be in, one of the windows to my right or something like that type of thing. But it has a lot more. Well, this beta, let's put it this way, it was a lot more polished in 2042.
Yes,
I was on the fence on pre-ordering Battlefield 6 because not that it was the fault of EA, but like Need for Speed Unbound, I think broke my other Series X because it kept on shutting off and restarting. But I kind of blame them for it. But that was like strike one. Strike two was what is it? Jedi Survivor. When it came to the performance mode, or just in general when it was released, after it got 9s and 10s from a lot of reviewers out there, and they were like, "Oh, don't worry, the day one patch will fix everything," and it didn't fix anything. Or at least for me, it didn't. So I kind of hate finished that game. And I guess like 3 months later, the patches kind of fixed a lot of stuff. But that was strike 2 for EA for me. And Battlefield 2042 was strike 3 in the sense of me giving them any more money on pre-orders, with the sense of the hit detection was off on 2042, and you could get into non-destructible items like the air conditioning vents or like some of the oil tankers on some of the maps and things like that, and you could shoot out and hit people, but they couldn't shoot into where you're at, and that just pissed me off. And there wasn't as much cover to run, like you're saying. Like it's one of those Battlefield inside jokes where it's like, yeah, run for 2 minutes, headshot, and start all over, rinse and repeat kind of thing. 2042, some of the maps, it's like you're in open space. Like running isn't really helping. Like you're better off in the vehicle, but still got to worry about snipers sniping you off an ATV or something kind of deal. But this one, at least there's a lot more cover. There's a lot more avenues to take. And if there isn't an avenue to take and tanker is in your team or in your squad or party, tell them to take out that building or punch a hole through that building so you can make your own path through there kind of thing. And that's the thing I like the most about it. Like the fact that you can knock down some of the buildings or some of the perches where the snipers are at, basically bring the building down with them, or knock a building down on a team that's kind of like camping out at the windows and stuff. And they're resuscitating some of the people that they drag back into the building. Just bring the building on their heads, which wound up happening to me. But yeah, it was a ton of fun playing this in a group that I knew. I did play a few of the maps or a few of the matches with randoms. Yeah, no, it seems like nobody's paying attention to somebody that's on your team, like especially if they're in your squad. Hey, somebody's green is down. Yeah, you should help them out, or at least drag them to cover, or call for a medic or something along those lines. But yeah, it was a ton of fun for me, Pong and Steel and Mav and Jasper as well this weekend. I didn't get to play it as much because I was on the road late Saturday and Sunday, but yeah, it definitely feels a lot closer to Battlefield 4 than it did Battlefield 1 or 5 or 2042. And I think that's what people have been looking for. Now, could the shotguns get a little bit of a nerf? Sure. I think the LMG should get a little bit more of a buff, because up close, those things should shred you just as much as a shotgun does. And it seems like, it still takes the same 6 shots to down you if you're right in front of them or if they're, around the corner kind of thing. The only other thing is the high ground, low ground. It's almost like the high ground shouldn't have but like 2 snipers allowed. People have already been posting pics of that same map. I forget the name of that map, but it's like, oh, there's like 16 little bright spots on the side of the mountain, and you're already, headshot. You're dead kind of thing. So yeah, that's the only map that's a little frustrating. But there's a couple of times we won that being on the low ground. The one time we lost that was when we would push forward, we'd get all the way up to F, and then somehow they snuck around us and took A and then worked their way back up. It was like we cleared everything, pushed them or had them right next to their headquarters, and then they jumped back in front of our headquarters and then came up behind us and wiped us out that way. But the turning of the tides, the moments that you can only have in Battlefield, all of that is definitely still live in this game. I didn't get to do what I normally do as far as being a pilot. Definitely love being the secondary gunner on the tanks. Let somebody else drive it and control the main gun. I'll take care of the personnel that are trying to come up and put mines and things around it and stuff like that to take us out, or the ones that are, manning the anti-tank, stations that are like in some of the streets and things like that. But yeah, it was a ton of fun. But I highly recommend being in a group or being in a party with people or even if it's not people just communication, being in a party. I don't know if they do like proximity chat or not. But yeah, the party aspect, being in a squad, I think that's where this game really shines. Not to take away from from Call of Duty. I'll definitely be playing that when it hits Game Pass as well. But I think I'll probably spend more time with Battlefield just because I like those more tactical shooters where being in the squad is more beneficial kind of thing. I mean, you can still kind of do squad stuff in Call of Duty, but it's a little bit different when it comes to Battlefield. It feels more like the military sims that I love, but without all of the extra restrictions or being familiar more so with like the call outs for checkpoints. Like not everybody knows it's Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta Echo Foxtrot. So
you got to
people
be
are like,
really
oh, just go to F.
entrenched, no pun intended, to get that. Yes, you're.
It's like, oh, get behind the berm. What's a berm? Never mind. Just just get behind cover.
Just run.
But yeah, it's a ton of fun. But there were some things that they definitely could work on. I know Cheese is Nasty may mention, shotguns can hit you from a good distance with good buckshot, or depending on the type of ammo you're using. I would like to see that type of ammo for the longer range be a requirement thing, but then again, they'll have it where it's an unlock and people just run that, where they could do the heavier pellets or the double pellets and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a ton of fun. I'm looking forward. Well, I wasn't going to pre-order, got it pre-ordered now, and that should be a good sign for EA. And kudos to Vince Impella for changing my mind.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's Battlefield. It's been a long time since there's been a really good Battlefield. Now, 2042 had a chance. Like when it was first shown off, I was like, oh my God, that is the Battlefield that I've been waiting for. And again, then they showed the Weather Dominator situation. I was like, I don't know if this is G.I. Joe or Battlefield, but it's fine. And it just never, listen, it's fine. It just never was the Battlefield that people were hoping for. And we're in a situation now where this beta, I think, went off great for them. I think, like you, a lot of people were like, yep, I'm in. Take my money. And that's awesome. There is one other question. Now, folks, I know there's a bunch of super chats. I'm going to get to them before we get to the next topic, I promise. But I want to get your thoughts on this because, to me, there seems to be two polar opposites, right, when it comes to these skins. On Call of Duty, listen, folks, they have had everybody. Snoop Dogg, Nicki Minaj. I mean, I'm not buying it. I love Snoop, but I'm not buying Snoop skin. They have, like, you've seen me playing many times. I haven't run just running during the stream. There are certain skins that just call out to me, and I buy them. It's not even, I want that. And for the most part, I don't buy as many as some others because I usually kind of stick with the same skin. There are a few that I put into rotation. But for the most part, I know what I like. I will say one of my concerns for Battlefield 6 and its lack of, non-military personnel skins is that they were all going to look the same. And that is really what it comes down to. Now, again, maybe that's a big deal for me. Maybe it's not a big deal for you. Oh, well, don't worry about the skin. Worry about your skills, Boom. And you're not wrong for that, right? Like, do we really see the characters? Not really. Like, you see him at the beginning. You see him at the end. You're in first person. So you don't really see him. But my thoughts and theories as to this, well, we're not moving past, a realism aspect of, of these military men and women. That's fine. But I found them to be incredibly boring. Like, they all just seemed a pinch. Okay. Anybody remember? I'm old, folks. You know that, right? Anybody remember going to, I'm really going to show my age here, like Play World back in the days, and in the G.I. Joe section, there would be the G.I. Joes, and you're like, yeah, real American hero. And then right next to them, there would be the knockoffs. You know what I'm talking about, right? The real Joes, and then there were the knockoffs. And the knockoffs would be 4 figures in the pack, and they would be identical except for a paint, like one would be green, one would be blue, one would be yellow, one would be red. And they each have a different weapon, and the weapon sucked. I'm sorry. That is kind of what I got from Battlefield. Like, I'm not, again, I bought the game, folks. I'm spending the $100. It's not a problem. I'm going to play the game. But if we're being honest, the people of the community and the people at EA specifically made a lot of reference towards we're not jumping the shark. We're going to have military men and women running around. And they all kind of look the same, man. Like they just do. So they're not getting any of my money. I'll buy the game. I'll get a couple of skins. I'll probably, if there's going to be a season pass, I'll probably buy the season pass like I do with Call of Duty, and maybe they'll include a skin. But like when they like people were making a big deal, oh, PlayStation got an exclusive black camo. I mean, he was just a shade of in all black and gray. That big deal. Like there was nothing to him whatsoever. I know it's a small thing, and maybe most people don't even give a shit. That's fine. But I know that it was a point that EA made about not jumping the shark and keeping it a buck. I'm gonna be honest with you. If they keep it a buck, they're certainly not getting mine. Let's get your thoughts before we move on to topic number 3, Fuzzy.
Yeah, I remember growing up going to Woolworth for
there you go. Thank you, sir.
For those toys and stuff, and it was always like either Transformers or GoBots. I forget what the name of the ones that were like the G.I. Joe knockoffs, but I had a lot of G.I. Joe
or something like that. Yeah. It was terrible, man. They were terrible.
No, but I'm more for the grounded in reality military uniforms and things. But a game that probably most of the people in the chat haven't played that I highly encourage they give a try, although the player base is definitely dwindled. The studio has kind of been closed or shuttered to some extent, was a game called Insurgency Sandstorm.
Yes.
And the way they did the clothing for your character, you could change their face, their sex, their race, their the particular branch of military that they were in, or the different region as far as the different camos. Like I think there were 26 different camos, ranging everything from woodland to I forget some of the other foreign ones and stuff, but they definitely had a good variety of different camos. And then they had the insurgency aspect where it looked like what you would expect for the insurgency from the Middle East or something along those lines. But then towards the later part, they started mixing in some more brightly colored uniforms, and part of the audience objected to it, and the rest of them just kind of like the casuals that are playing that game were like, oh, it's fine. But then it winds up making you a target. If you're wearing a bright red hat, yeah, you might be a red beret, but that's a target in an area where everything is green. So if you're in the forest and you're wearing a red hat or a red beret, you're going to stand out a bit more than if you're wearing a green beret or just a regular BDU cap or something like that. But I hope both Call of Duty and Battlefield look at things from like that game as far as how you can do the skins or the different looks for the player. I mean, it does still lead to players possibly putting the wrong camo on for the situation. Like you don't want to have desert camo in the middle of the snow. I mean, yeah, it's still a lighter color, but it's a lighter color tan, so you will stand out. You don't want to have, winter camo, I forget or the Arctic camo in the middle of the forest, because you're going to stand out as well. But at least it allows people to customize their soldier in a way that makes sense. May not make sense for that particular map, but they always had it, at least with Insurgency Sandstorm, that you could change. Like if you made 4 or 5 characters for like different situations, you could change between that along with your loadout and stuff, which I would love to see more military games do that. Not saying they have to go full military sim in that regard, but having that freedom to do that, and potentially, although this might be counterintuitive, have the potential for something like, for somebody that doesn't want to see a Beavis and Butthead running around, have it where you can turn off player skins or something like that. although the people that spent the money for the player skins are going to want you to see it, but then again, it's more so for their visuals, for like the end result screen and things along those lines. But maybe that should be something that they consider if they do allow, everything from Kratos to Chief to Beavis and Butthead type skins in those types of shooters. But I'm not opposed to them, as just you probably won't find me buying them for those games. I'll probably stick to regular military camo stuff and the cool headgear that you can have in some of them and go from there. But that's just my take.